Hello and welcome back to the Dwarven Tavern. I am your host, Dr. Jeff Goins, and with us in the tavern are us, the Royal We.
You cut off my intro.
Well, okay. With us in the tavern is...
Ian Goins.
Lyric Guns.
All that for that little...
Yes.
Okay.
It mattered to him. It was something special.
Okay.
He gets up for that.
Well, let's do it again. In the tavern tonight are...
Me.
And me.
And we are finishing up with, we're talking about, right now we're talking about the question that we had in the last video, which was all about cosplay. And we have a few more questions to wrap up with. But cosplaying is a pretty serious and widely reaching topic, so we thought we'd address it a little more, in a little more detail. So your thoughts on cosplay?
Well, I've seen a lot of cosplayers that do it for living, and I actually have a lot of friends who are professional cosplayers, and they do it for the love of the characters that they are cosplaying. They're doing it to show their fandom. They're doing it to express themselves artistically.
It's just like fan fiction authors.
Exactly. Yes.
They write fiction about their favorite characters because they love that character so much.
There could be some very, very professional authors from some of the fan fiction that Tavernier Lissa and I have read. Just the quality is just fantastic.
Yeah.
But cosplayers specifically.
Some of them not so much.
Yeah.
I think that okay, going on a little bit of a feminist tirade. I think a woman should be able to wear whatever she wants. There's my tirade.
Yeah.
And
that should be
the shortest tirade in history.
well, here's another feminist tirade for you. Men should be able to wear whatever they want because feminism is not just about females.
That's a tirette. It's
I thought a tirette was a female tyrannosaurus.
no, it's a neutered Tarrasque.
A new Tarrasque.
A tirette.
Or a baby Tarrasque. A little
They never existed.
No.
But the point of this is that if you feel offended by a female cosplayer, that's not her problem. That's your problem.
Yeah.
And that's something that you need to deal with.
That could honestly depend on the cosplayer.
Well, what I'm saying is that the female cosplayer is cosplaying for her love of what she is cosplaying. She's not cosplaying it for you. She's not cosplaying it for me. She's cosplaying it for herself, ultimately.
Right.
And that's the bottom line.
A lot of people don't get that, though.
Yeah.
Well, it should obviously still be appropriate for public.
Well, yeah, I'm that's kept in mind. But I'm saying, like...
Well, it should be given, but it's not.
Okay, Black Canary. That can... Black Canary can be seen as somewhat revealing.
Caw-caw!
But she... Mostly because she has fishnet, and I don't know... I don't see it as indecent, but... a lot of people think that cosplaying Black Canary can sometimes be inappropriate. And I think that as long as she's doing it at a con, for example, or at a photo shoot, then it should be fine.
As opposed to like a job interview.
Right? Like,
or at church.
I can scream the canary scream, and I have amazing martial arts.
Yeah,
hire me now.
Honestly, I think that...
A lot of guys will be like, okay.
Especially she just folded her legs just right.
Yeah. Well, cosplaying and conventions should be a part of each other. Not being able to cosplay at a convention...
That's sacrilege.
That's where cosplaying...
That's like not being allowed to kick the tires at a car dealership. Maybe that's a bad analogy. Not cosplaying at a convention is synonymous to a good analogy.
Not wearing a net hat at a bee farm?
Yes. Yes, my son. Not wearing a net hat at a bee farm.
I was going to say, not cosplaying at a convention is almost like not being able to test drive your car. Well, that's very good.
Okay, let's leave cars out of it. Automobiles.
Cars are not good.
That's not.
How about not being able to cosplay at a convention? I almost said a book signing.
And a book signing.
Cosplaying at a book signing, I guess.
Oh,
you know,
I got
if
it.
you were the writer.
That's not... I'm sure there's a good analogy.
There was an
we just
analogy
can't
somewhere.
find it.
I think mine was the best.
It's like getting married before you do the hunka chunka. You don't know if it's no.
No, I was gonna say it's like going to a bookstore and like reading books, but that's
And you
trying it
can't-
out.
That's trying.
That might be the okay. Us having such a hard time finding an appropriate analogy for cosplayers might be the mindset that comes behind why people think it's inappropriate for women to cosplay certain cosplays.
That's a good point.
Because they think that the woman is just showing off her body to show it off like, hey, this is what you could have. And me cosplaying is just test driving it for you.
Right.
That might be
That
that
might
might
be
be
it.
the mindset behind it.
That might be.
And in
And-
that case, stop.
And see, the thing is that when you see a woman cosplaying, you wonder, is she, hot to trot? Is she out for her glory? Does she love the character? Whatever. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. It's none of your business. What she's doing it, why she's doing it, is not for you or anyone else to judge. So when you see a cosplayer, you can say, that is an amazing cosplay. Or, you're the Hulk, right? And she's like, no, I'm the Green Arrow. It's like, ooh.
Well, you did a great job, honey.
Yeah.
You try.
Yeah, and it's like, you're the Penguin, right? And he's like, no, I'm a Slender Man. It's like, ooh. So, yeah, imagine. So the point is it's not for anyone to judge why they are doing what they are doing. They're there for their own personal expression of whatever it is they're trying to express. And the appreciation of their cosplay, I think, is the only really appropriate thing that you should show to someone when they're give them a thumbs up or ask for a picture or whatever.
I think
Respectfully, but just be respectful.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think another great point, or cut you off rather. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think another great point is that person is cosplaying. The fact that they are putting themselves out there, no matter their body type, especially if it doesn't suit that cosplay, that takes guts.
It does. Sometimes a lot of guts.
Ah,
I was
no.
actually just thinking what would be freaking hilarious is if
Or not enough guts.
a guy
Or
on
not enough
purpose,
guts, yeah.
a really, really big fat guy did a Slenderman cosplay and was just like constantly sneaking around.
Oh,
the place.
That would be amazing.
You know,
That would
it'd
be
be really cool. If you're an enormous man or woman, whatever, and you do a Slenderman cosplay, and put a bunch of masks of children under your shirt like he's full,
Oh my god.
That would be cool.
that would be amazing.
I would geek out.
Yeah,
I
that'd
just
be
geek out.
horrifying, actually.
But a cosplayer, no matter their reasoning, they are putting
just
themselves out there. And constructive criticism, what they're doing is an art form. I got it. Let's just use the con as an example. A cosplayer should be allowed to cosplay at a con just like an artist should be allowed to exhibit their art. Because they're the exact same thing. Usually cosplayers make their own uniforms. I made one of my cosplays simply from duct tape and foam. But
The horror.
I did it, and it was a form of art, and
Is that what you call it?
desperately
The foam of art.
it was a foam of art, and
That's
I
real
think that
serious art foam.
that cosplay appreciation should be treated as an art form and not as a sexual display.
Even if the point of the cosplay is sexual display.
Exactly. Because, I mean, nude art is a thing, and they consider it
It's
art.
a very popular thing.
So, well, it's because it's nude. But
Right.
I think that
Sex
I
art.
have a whole other problem with nude art being a thing. But it's usually because it's like Playboy bunny perfect bodies. But I think that nude art should include people of all forms.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've only
There are
seen...
some people I would prefer not painted.
Have you seen
not paint, it's
Have you
actual
seen
pictures.
Leonard Nimoy's photographic art.
No.
He did. I think it was Leonard Nimoy. He did a large study of average bodies.
Huh. That's
Neat.
It was
something
very cool.
I'll look
It was
into.
very cool.
But I'm thinking mostly like Lilo and Stitch, where Lilo took a bunch of pictures of foreigners, and now they were just like.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's completely off topic.
Completely.
To summarize all of this is that cosplayer should be able to cosplay like what they want and appropriate to the setting, and have constructive criticism or none at all. And because if you're a troll, then you're just a troll, and nobody likes you.
Troll.
So.
Yeah.
I think that sums it up.
So-
If you're a troll, you're just a troll, and no one likes you.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Okay, so next question.
Next question.
Cool. Hi, Tavern. I have a question about what to do with my DM. My DM is the only one around for various reasons, and half of what he does is either unfair or uncool. Seriously, he tried to throw whites at us, and when half of our characters died, he just said, tough luck. We are all taking a break from D&D because he is just so, you know. Anyway.
Very polite person there.
Do you have any advice on how to deal with a DM who wears... Oh my god, you spelled wear wrong. It was W-A-G-R-E apostrophe S, but it's not right.
Heil Nazi. Heil grammar.
Do you have any advice on how to deal with a DM who wears their butt as a hat? Daniel B. from New Jersey.
Well, find a different hat.
We actually have a term for that, isn't it? Killer DM?
A KDM.
KDM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Regardless of why there are no DMs, no other DMs in your area, is not as important and not as what's the word I'm looking for? Not as all-encompassing, we'll say, as your need to find a new DM. If you're not playing because of a DM, then that DM needs to be removed from the picture, period.
That's actually the point of advice I was going to give, is
Yeah.
because you didn't have anything saying in your question that none of you or your friends want to DM, so
If you
pass
have
the torch
a good DM
involuntarily.
Yeah.
A good DM can make you want to play a game, because it's like when you example A, when you start up
Example
a game,
B.
Yeah.
but when you start up a
Example
game,
C.
at least I made the roster. But when you have a good DM and your campaign starts up really well and it flows really well, and all your characters, because the DM makes the world move around the characters. Sometimes literally, depending on the characters, but or depending on the amount of monsters they face at one time. But DM.
Sorry.
You
scared the hiccup out of me.
But, again, so your characters can be very, very interesting people, and they can do interesting things. But a DM makes the world around those interesting characters and gives them things to do. And when the world isn't fun to play in, you can take the characters out and put them in a new one.
Yeah, exactly. And that is just about the best advice that we can give for that
I have something else. I
scenario.
just actually thought about this. I keep interrupting you guys, and I apologize. I'm not doing that all
That's
the time.
okay, go ahead.
But maybe the reason that he's such an unfair or uncool DM is because he has no other example to go off of. And if you guys decide to start a different campaign where he's a player and someone else is a DM, then maybe he sees how that person...
Yeah, show them how it's done, basically.
Basically. Or not show him how it's done, but just give him...
Throw some whites at him.
Give him direction.
Karma.
Karma.
How to be a good DM. And maybe he'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that I was supposed to do that. Because it might just be an innocent thing. It might...
Maybe.
I mean, ignorant sounding.
Or, you know,
but
I think that's...
that's a benefit of the doubt thing.
Yeah, it is. It's almost a Sesame Street answer, but
Well,
but because
we have a
you know,
we have a similar experience with the DM that she and I had.
oh, I thought you were playing with a DM. There's
Certain
an
DM.
absolute
Oh
jerk.
man,
not
a
to point any
horrible
fingers.
DM over here. Look at that one. But
Josh says I'm good.
he's lying.
Aww.
But we've had a certain experience with another DM where we had 2 first level characters. I was a paladin and she was a fighter. First level, we walked into the town. Literally, we sat down, put the characters down, and she was like, okay, we walk into a town. Like, okay, now what? The first thing that happened is everyone locked all the doors and we were attacked by 6 third challenge rating wargs. And promptly got slaughtered. We got our asses handed to us.
Yeah, but
They literally, I had to grab her. She was literally torn almost completely in half.
well, that's mostly because my character was a stubborn wench and wouldn't
And
back
you know,
down when she
2
needed
first level
to.
characters fighting wargs with 3 attacks each, and just their bite attack was doing like 2d8 plus 4. Dear God. There's like, their average damage could have killed us outright. And there were 6 of them. And they mugged us.
This experience has scarred you for life.
Yeah,
hasn't
it was like, and that's basically what he described.
Yeah,
And you
but
don't do that. That's a bad DM.
however, to play the devil's advocate, that DM, after that campaign was played, she's like, I had no idea that.
That's why you need the monster.
Well, she was like, I had no idea that that's how demolishing wargs could be. I am so sorry for putting you guys through that. We actually never played that campaign again. Mostly because it was kind of unsalvageable.
Yeah.
But she just didn't know.
They didn't seem that dangerous in the movie.
Yeah, because they were caught in the movie.
Well, right. And you know, in a previous video, I once stated that anybody can encounter anything at any time, which really is the case in this situation.
It is. But
So
there's always a way out of that situation.
Well, not always. I mean, not necessarily.
It might just be that your characters now are dead, so that when you roll up characters later, you actually experience the legend that those characters left behind.
But
and that might be
putting-
the
That might have been-
DM's entire point.
Yeah.
But taking characters that people just roll up and literally putting them into a meat grinder on purpose is not cool in my book.
I agree, but
I also agree, but I think that if you use your brain, that there could have been a way either out of it or
In the middle of town square, surrounded by 6 wargs.
well, that's more of a DM's move. Like, if you see that your character's getting wrecked, then you got to step in. Like, oh, all of a sudden the townspeople come out with their pitchforks and torches, and
that is
Something.
true. If you
because
it
these
all
guys are
depends
getting
on
killed.
Yeah, these guys are getting mugged.
it all depends on the desire of the dungeon master, what that dungeon master wants to have done, and what you said about the characters dying, so that the new characters can, you know, come in with a vengeance or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that's incredibly valid.
because you could roll up the brothers and sisters of those characters that died, and then come seek vengeance. But that's more
They
of
probably
a...
get mugged as well.
got wrecked.
Right.
The mom popped.
And it sank into the swamp.
But to say how to deal with your DM, we can't use the advice of let them play, but we can, because if they see the
Well,
example that you have for them, maybe they're just not that experienced. Maybe they aren't meant to be the DM. Maybe they're meant to be a player, and that attitude of tough luck can be transcribed as a barbarian.
Well, the one thing
That's
really
valid.
good. The one thing that's really good about a bad DM is when you're a player playing with a bad DM is you learn how to not DM. And you can take that bad DM, put them into your seat, and say, okay, this is what you're doing wrong, and then give them a good game. So then perhaps they can make the other campaign that you were just in better.
Or they'll never DM again because they're having too much fun as a player.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
Or-
that's happened before.
If you want, if all this turns out to be completely insolvent or unsalvageable,
Which we hope it is if this DM
We
is a
hope-
very close
yeah.
friend.
Of course.
then you can go to bookstores or gaming stores or whatever, and use it like a tavern bulletin board where you say DM needed for gaming group.
Or
Try and find
abduct.
time network.
I don't want to say abduct. I was gonna
Abduct.
induct. And there we go.
Abduct a child and teach it to dungeon master from a very young age.
I was going to say
That's not
is
good
that-
advice, honey.
I was going to say that
what
you
I
induct
did.
more camp.
I created my own.
Can I continue with my point?
Yes.
Surely.
You can get rid of that DM. A, and then step B is to show more people how to play, and this could include other friends, family, especially parents, siblings, children. Oh my God, if you have a child and you haven't taught them how to game, shame on you.
Yeah.
But show other people. Make your gaming community so much bigger so that there's more options than just the singular DM who's really bad at it. So throw ideas at the camera and tell it that's how it's done.
It is.
Yeah.
That is how it's done, because dungeon masters have, and I know because I'm the majority dungeon master. I'm not the only dungeon master, and we all have
You're more
characters.
head dungeon master.
I'm the
Yeah.
head dungeon master,
The most experienced.
and well, that's true. And there are always players, and there are always dungeon masters.
You just have to find them.
Yeah, and so don't
Or make
don't
them.
sweat it, or make them. Yeah, don't sweat it. If this guy's not working out as a dungeon master, then step him down, and step someone else up, and
Make him play Plasma.
Well, I don't think
make him
it's
play
so-
Plasma.
I don't think it's so much that DMs are higher than players. I like what Ian said in a previous video, that the DM is also a player.
Absolutely.
You're all playing the same game. So make sure that he's aware of that. And maybe he's just too high on his horse and needs to be brought down to a pony.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Or like Conan, have his horse's legs cut right out from under him. And,
let's not. We do not. We do
yeah,
not
it's you know, if you
approve
guys
of
are
animal
friends,
violence.
I've lost a few friends over gaming, and I
Sadly.
can't say, well, sort of, but it's never a good thing to lose a friend over gaming, because
Never
you know
a
we
good thing to lose a friend.
yeah we try and minimize the negative here at the tavern, but you know sometimes that's necessary, and you shouldn't be afraid to do it. And certainly, if you think about it, this guy is single-handedly ruining the gaming for X number of people, however many people's in your group that
Yeah.
are not gaming right now.
Right, you could be gaming.
Yeah, true.
If you just cut that whole number down by one and start someone else as the DM, then you guys can all still game together.
And even though just taking him down from DM and putting someone else up there, you don't minimize the gaming group at all.
At all, and
But it makes it playable again.
and
so.
since all the rest of the players know what is not cool to do as a dungeon master, then it's almost inevitable that whoever takes over is going to do a better job.
I also
Yeah.
have another idea that I just thought of. We had a campaign with, let's see, it was me and Tavernier Lindsay and a few of our friends, where we would DM one session, and then the next session someone else would do it, and it was kind of a round robin DM session, and it was a fantastic
And it was
game.
the same campaign, right?
It was the same campaign. So if you want to keep your characters and you like the storyline, but the DM is just being unbelievably just not, then maybe suggest a round robin and make the NPCs his PCs, and then make your PCs NPCs.
Or
and
let the
then-
player to the left take over your character when
Right.
you guys switch off.
And put Plasma in there. So
Plasma.
whoever was with Plasma next
He's
game.
kind of the old maid.
The
old
man.
maid.
So
Only-
that's an
yeah.
idea too. Is when if you want to keep everything the way it is except for who's DMing, then either chuck him out or suggest the round robin so that maybe someone else who wants to try out DMing can do it.
Mhm.
And I think that would be just as solvent as the.
Solvent.
Word of the day.
I don't know the word I was
Solvent.
looking for. But it can solve your problem just as easily as any of the other suggestions that we had.
Yeah, there's lots of ways around that.
We actually have a lot more. We have 2 more questions, but we're almost out of time. So I guess a part 4
Part 4.
is going to be next.
Okay, all right.
So
Just stay tuned, and part 4 will be up.